The first time I saw a human, I thought it was broken. No, seriously. I mean, look at them. 2 legs, barely any natural armor. No venom sacs, no pheromone glands worth mentioning. And their sensory organs are all clustered on this ridiculous ball they call a head. One good hit and boom, lights out. Game over. Thanks for playing. My name is Vriktal, and I am a Korthian combat analyst for the Galactic Military Academy on Station Helix 9. My species has been fighting wars for 12,000 cycles. We have exoskeletons that can deflect plasma rounds. We have 4 arms. We have compound eyes that can see in 17 different spectrums. We are, by any reasonable metric, apex predators. Humans? They are squishy meatbags that somehow conquered their entire planet despite being edible to nearly every predator that evolved alongside them. The absurdity of it still makes my mandibles click in what you might call laughter. But here is the thing. Here is the thing that keeps me awake during rest periods, that makes me question everything I thought I knew about warfare and survival and what it means to be dangerous. Humans do not need natural weapons, because they build better ones. Let me back up. 3 months ago, the Academy started accepting human candidates into the Advanced Tactical Training Program. This was controversial. Half the instructors thought it was a joke. The other half thought it was an insult. Humans had only been part of the Galactic Coalition for 8 cycles. 8. Most species do not even finish writing their first constitution in that time. But the Coalition Council insisted. Something about diversity of thought, cultural exchange, political nonsense that made my third stomach churn. So they sent us 12 humans. 12 soft, fragile, bizarre little creatures that looked like they would break if you sneezed on them too hard. I was assigned to oversee their weapons proficiency training. Me, a decorated Korthian veteran with 400 confirmed eliminations and 3 valor crystals. They put me in charge of teaching apes how to hold a gun. I may have filed 17 formal complaints. The first human I actually spoke to was named Marcus Webb. He was tall for his species, with dark skin and eyes that seemed to catalog everything they saw. When he walked into my office, he moved with this strange economy of motion, not aggressive, not submissive, just efficient. "Analyst Vriktal," he said, and his voice had this rough quality that I would later learn meant he had been yelling recently. "I am Marcus Webb, 3rd Lieutenant Human Defense Corps. I understand you will be my primary instructor." I looked him up and down, unimpressive. He was wearing their standard uniform, which had approximately 0 protective value. His species had not even bothered to develop decent combat attire before joining the galactic stage. "You understand wrong," I said, keeping my tone flat. "I will not be your instructor. I will be your supervisor. You will learn from automated systems and simulation programs like every other first-cycle cadet. I have actual military business to attend to." Something changed in his face. The muscles around his mouth tightened. On a Korthian, this would signal aggression. On a human, I had no idea what it meant. "Understood," he said. Then he did something unexpected. He smiled. "I look forward to proving myself." There was something in that smile that made my secondary heart rate increase. He left. I went back to my reports. I told myself that humans would wash out within a month. I was so wrong. The first incident happened during basic marksmanship training. The course is simple. Cadets use standard coalition pulse rifles to hit targets at increasing distances. Start at 50 meters, work up to 300. The average cadet needs 40 hours to achieve consistent accuracy at maximum range. Humans completed the course in 6 hours, all 12 of them. When I reviewed the data logs, I thought there had been a system error. No species learns that fast. It defies everything we know about neural plasticity and muscle memory development. I ran diagnostics 3 times. Had to get checked out. The weapons instructor, a Velian named Growth 7, was equally baffled. "They do not miss," he told me, his vocal synthesizer crackling with what might have been confusion or fear. Hard to tell with Velians. After the first 30 minutes, they simply do not miss. I increased wind resistance. I added gravitational fluctuations. I introduced target movement patterns that require predictive calculation. They adapted instantly. "That is impossible," I said. "I have the footage," Roth 7 replied. He showed me. I watched Marcus Webb fire at a target 800 meters away. Not 300. 800. The target was moving erratically, simulating evasive action by a trained combatant. Environmental conditions included high wind, low visibility, and electromagnetic interference. He hit it. Center mass. First shot. Then he looked directly at the observation camera and gave that smile again. "What the hell?" I said, which is a human phrase I had recently learned and found oddly satisfying. "There is more," Grot 7 said. He pulled up another file. "This is from Advanced Combat Scenarios. Watch." The simulation was brutal. Multiple hostiles at varying ranges, civilians in the area of engagement, time pressure, limited ammunition. It was designed to create impossible choices. Force the cadet to sacrifice accuracy for speed, or risk civilian casualties by taking too long to aim. I watched a human female named Kira Osman navigate it like she had written the program herself. She moved through the scenario with this flowing precision, firing on the move, never stopping, never hesitating. Every shot found its target. Every target was a hostile. Not one civilian was endangered. Her time, 43 seconds. The previous record, held by a Korthian Special Operations veteran, was 2 minutes and 18 seconds. "This has to be a glitch," I said. "It is not a glitch," Groth 7 said. "I tested them individually. I tested them in groups. I changed weapons systems. I altered environmental variables. The result is always the same. They are inhumanly good at this." I clicked my mandibles, annoyed. They are human, that is the problem. They should not be good at this. But they were. Over the next week, I watched them break every record in the combat database. Hand-to-hand combat. They moved like water, flowing around attacks that should have landed, striking with precision that made our best instructors look clumsy. Tactical planning. They developed strategies that were simultaneously reckless and brilliant, succeeding through sheer audacity. Survival training. They ate things that should have killed them and asked for seconds. It was maddening. It was terrifying. It was impressive, and I hated that I was impressed. The breaking point came during live fire exercises. This is where cadets use actual weapons in a controlled environment. Safety protocols are strict. Engagement distances are predetermined. Everyone follows the rules because the rules are written in the blood of cadets who did not follow them. Humans, apparently, view rules as suggestions. We were running a standard exercise. 2 teams, capture the flag scenario using low-power stun rounds that would incapacitate but not permanently harm. Humans were split between teams, mixed with other species to encourage cooperation. Marcus Webb was team leader for Alpha Group. His opposition was Beta Group, led by a Drakish warrior named Kalth who had served in 3 military campaigns before attending the academy. The exercise began. Within 90 seconds, it was over. Alpha Group won without losing a single member. Beta Group never saw them coming. I reviewed the footage 6 times before I understood what had happened. The humans had not followed the designated routes. They had not used the provided cover points. They had not engaged at the expected ranges. Instead, they had moved through terrain that the simulation had marked as impassable. They had used angles of attack that the other species had not even considered possible. And they had fired from distances that should have made accuracy impossible. Marcus Webb had taken his team wide, flanking through a narrow canyon that required them to move in single file, exposed, vulnerable. Any competent opponent should have detected them and eliminated them easily. But Marcus had calculated something that nobody else had considered. The canyon was at the extreme edge of weapon range. Beta Group had sensors monitoring all the standard approaches. They were watching the main routes, the covered positions, the logical attack vectors. They were prepared for everything, except an attack from 700 meters away through terrain that provided no cover, by opponents who should not have been able to hit anything at that distance. Marcus Webb and his team opened fire simultaneously. 12 shots, 12 hits. Half of Beta Group was down before they realized they were under attack. The rest of the engagement was a formality. Alpha Group advanced under covering fire, moving with this choreographed precision that suggested they had trained together for years, not weeks. They communicated in rapid bursts of their language, coordinating without the translator lag that afflicts most mixed species units. Kalth never stood a chance. After the exercise, I called Marcus to my office. He arrived still wearing his combat gear, looking entirely too pleased with himself. "Sit," I said, gesturing to the chair designed for bipedal species. He sat. That smile was back. I was beginning to hate that smile. You violated engagement protocols, I said. You moved through restricted terrain. You fired from outside designated range parameters. You could have been disqualified. But we were not, Marcus said. We won. That is not the point. That is exactly the point, he said, leaning forward. With respect, Analyst Rickdahl, your protocols are designed for species with specific capabilities and limitations. We have different capabilities, different limitations. You are saying the rules do not apply to you. I am saying the rules were written without us in mind, Marcus said. We are not trying to break them. We are trying to show you what we can do. I felt my mandibles tighten. What you can do is reckless. Dangerous. You took unnecessary risks. Did we? Marcus asked. Did we, though? Because from where I am sitting we calculated every variable, assessed every risk, and executed a plan that resulted in 0 casualties on our side and complete mission success. That is not reckless. That is effective. He was right, and I hated that he was right. How? I asked. The question came out before I could stop it. How did you hit targets at that range? Our best marksmen need optimal conditions and advanced optics for that kind of accuracy. You had neither. Marcus looked at me for a long moment. Then he said something that changed everything. We had practice. Practice? Humans have been killing each other with projectile weapons for thousands of years, Marcus said, and there was no pride in his voice, just statement of fact. We had guns before we had computers, before we had electricity, before we had medicine that could reliably treat infection. We built weapons that could kill at distance, and then we spent centuries getting better at using them. He stood up, moving to the window that overlooked the training grounds. Every human child learns about famous marksmen from our history, he continued, people who could hit targets at distances that seemed impossible. We have competitions where the best shooters in the world gather to test their skills. We have military units where every member can consistently hit man-sized targets at 1,000 meters or more. This is not magic. This is practice. This is culture. This is what we do. But why, I asked. Why develop such skills when you have technology that makes them unnecessary? Marcus turned back to me, and his expression was serious now. No smile, no humor. Because technology fails, he said. Because batteries run out. Because systems malfunction. Because sometimes all you have is a rifle and the knowledge of how to use it. We learned a long time ago that you cannot rely on anything except your own skills. So we developed those skills. We honed them. We passed them down through generations. And now, here we are. I did not know what to say to that. He moved toward the door, then paused. Tomorrow is the advanced range qualification, he said. You should watch. We are going to try something. What? I asked. That smile came back. You will see. He left. I spent the rest of the day reviewing human military history. What I found made my secondary heart rate increase again, and not in a good way. These creatures had fought wars that killed millions of their own kind. They had developed weapons of such destructive power that they could render their entire planet uninhabitable. They had built machines specifically designed to deliver death from distances measured in thousands of kilometers. And then, somehow, they had stopped. They had looked at the edge of self-annihilation and stepped back. They had built a global civilization. They had reached for the stars, but they had not forgotten how to fight. The next day, I arrived at the range early. Road 7 was already there, his Velian form practically vibrating with what I now recognized as excitement. They requested special permission for today's exercise. He told me, they want to attempt maximum range qualification. What is maximum range? I asked. 2,000 meters. I stared at him. That is insane. That is beyond the effective range of standard infantry weapons. I told them that, Groth 7 said. Marcus Webb said, and I quote, then it will be a good test. The 12 humans arrived together, moving as a unit. They had this casual confidence that I was beginning to recognize as their default state. Not arrogance. They were not showing off. They just genuinely believed they could do what they said they could do. Marcus approached me. Analyst Rickdahl, thank you for being here. I am here to supervise, I said. Nothing more. Of course, he said. That smile again. They took their positions on the firing line. The targets were set at maximum distance, 2,000 meters away. At that range they were barely visible even with enhanced optics. Wind conditions were moderate. Temperature was standard. Gravitational constant was within normal parameters. It should have been impossible. Groth 7 gave the signal to commence firing. The humans did not fire immediately. They took their time, making adjustments, checking their weapons, communicating in low voices. They heard fragments of their conversation, technical terms I did not recognize, references to wind speed, bullet drop, Coriolis effect. They spoke in a language that was as much mathematics as words. Then, one by one, they fired. The targets registered hits. All 12 targets. All 12 hits. That should not be possible, I said. And yet, Marcus said from behind me, making me jump. He had moved without sound. Another human skill I had not accounted for. How? I demanded. He gestured to the range. My friend Kira is about to demonstrate something. Watch carefully. Kira Osman stepped up to a different firing position. This one had no target visible through standard optics. What is she doing? I asked. Testing maximum practical range, Marcus said. The target is at 3,000 meters. That is ludicrous. Maybe, Marcus agreed. Kira made her adjustments. She seemed to take forever calculating angles that required mathematics. I could not follow. Finally she settled into position, aimed at something I could not see, and fired. 10 seconds passed. Felt like 10 years. Then the target registered a hit, 3,000 meters. First shot. Okay, I said, and I realized I was speaking human slang again. Okay, you need to explain this. Marcus looked at me, and for the first time I saw something other than confidence in his eyes. I saw, after class, he said quietly, come find us at the practice range. We will show you something that might help you understand. The rest of the session was more of the same. Impossible shots made routine, records shattered, my understanding of what was physically possible being systematically dismantled. When the official training ended, I followed the humans to their practice area. This was an informal space where cadets could train outside of structured exercises. Most species used it for light conditioning. The humans had turned it into something else. They had set up targets at various distances, some close, some far, some so far I needed optical enhancement to see them. Marcus saw me arrive and waved me over. We wanted to show you something, he said. Something about human capability that does not translate well in official reports. I am listening, I said. Kira stepped forward. She was holding a standard pulse rifle, nothing special. She looked at a target maybe 50 meters away, close range, easy shot for anyone. Watch, Marcus said. Kira fired. The target registered a hit. Before I could process that, she had already shifted her aim and fired again. Different target, further away. Hit. She did it again and again. She worked through targets at increasing ranges, firing as fast as she could aim, and she did not miss. Not once. She moved through the sequence like she was breathing, natural and effortless. When she finished, she lowered the rifle and looked at Marcus. Good, he said. Now show them the thing. Kira nodded. She moved to a sitting position, rifle rested across her knees. She looked relaxed, comfortable. A target appeared at extreme range, easily 1,000 meters, maybe more. That is the thing, Marcus said to me. We tried testing its range after class. The rifle, wanted to see what it could really do. He paused, and his voice dropped to almost a whisper. Something that made the words feel heavier, more significant. Instructor Growth 7 was watching. He whispered to me, "It can hit you before you even stand." I did not understand. Then Kira demonstrated. She went from sitting to prone position in one fluid motion, bringing the rifle up as she moved, and fired before her body had fully settled. The target registered a hit. She did it again, sitting to kneeling to firing. Again, standing to prone, hit. She was hitting targets at ranges that should have required careful aim and steady positions, doing it while moving, transitioning between stances, treating the act of shooting like it was as natural as walking. The point, Marcus said, and his voice was still low, still serious, is that we do not need to be set up. We do not need optimal conditions. We do not need time to prepare. We can engage effectively from any position at any range within our capability while moving or stationary. He looked at me directly. That is what makes us dangerous, he said. Not that we can hit targets far away, but that we can hit them from anywhere, anytime, without warning. Before you realize we are a threat, before you can react. I felt something cold settle in my core stomachs. It can hit you before you even stand, I repeated. That was not talking about the rifle. No, Marcus agreed. It was not. The other humans had been watching silently. Now one of them, a shorter male named David Park, spoke up. Every human learns this eventually, he said. Not everyone becomes a marksman, but we all understand the principle. Speed and accuracy beat perfect positioning. Initiative beats preparation. Being willing to take the shot beats waiting for the perfect shot. Another human, tall and thin with pale skin, added her voice. Her name was Elena Rios. We come from a planet that tried very hard to kill us, she said. Everything was bigger, stronger, faster, had better weapons than we did. So we learned to fight differently. We learned to use tools, to plan, to strike first and strike hard, and never give the enemy time to use their advantages. Marcus nodded. We are not the strongest. We are not the fastest. We do not have natural armor or venom or any of the things that make a species dangerous by default. What we have is adaptability, creativity, and the willingness to do whatever it takes to survive. He gestured to the targets scattered across the range. This, he said, this is just us being us. This is what happens when you take a species that evolved to be persistence hunters, give them weapons, and let them spend 10,000 years figuring out how to use them better. We do not just practice shooting. We study it. We analyze it. We turn it into science and art and tradition. And you brought all of this with you, I said slowly, into the galaxy. Yes, Marcus said simply. There was a long silence. I looked at the 12 humans standing before me, soft, fragile creatures that should have been prey for any proper predator. Except they were not prey. They were apex predators wearing prey's clothing. And the galaxy had just invited them in. I need to file a report, I said finally. We expected that, Marcus said. For what it is worth, we are not here to threaten anyone. We want to be part of the coalition. We want to contribute. But we will not pretend to be less than we are. And what are you? I asked. Marcus smiled one more time. But this smile was different. This smile had teeth. We are humans, he said, and we are very, very good at this. I left the practice range with my mind churning. Back in my office, I began writing the most difficult report of my career. Subject: Human Combat Capability Assessment. Recommendation: the Academy's current evaluation metrics are inadequate for properly assessing human potential. Further recommendation: all combat instructors should be briefed on human capabilities before continuing to train them. Current protocols risk underestimating a species that has demonstrated abilities far exceeding expected parameters. Final recommendation: we need to completely reconsider what humans might be capable of if given access to coalition technology and training methods. I paused, mandibles clicking as I considered my next words. Personal observation: I have been analyzing military capabilities for 90 cycles. I have never been frightened of a student before. I am frightened now. I sent the report and sat back in my chair. Outside my window, I could see the practice range. The humans were still there, still training, pushing themselves harder than any other species. And they were laughing while they did it. That might have been the most frightening thing of all. They treated all of this deadly skill, this terrifying capability, as fun, as challenge, as something to be enjoyed. My communicator chimed. Message from command. Report received. Request additional details. How immediate is the threat assessment? I thought about Marcus Webb's smile, about Kira Osman hitting targets 3,000 meters away, about 12 humans who had rewritten every combat record we had. I typed my response. Unknown. They claim they are here as allies. I believe them. But if they ever decide they are not, we would not see it coming. It would be over before we could stand. I hit send and wondered if the rest of the galaxy was ready for what we had just welcomed aboard. Probably not. I was not ready, and I had been training warriors for 90 cycles. But ready or not, humans were here. And they were just getting started. The crisis started 3 weeks after I filed my report. Looking back, I should have seen it coming. Should have recognized the signs, But nobody expects pirates to be stupid enough to attack a galactic military academy station. Nobody except humans, apparently. It was second shift, local time. I was reviewing training schedules when my communicator went ballistic. Alarms blared through the entire station. Red emergency lighting flooded my office. My combat instincts kicked in immediately. All four arms reaching for weapons that were not there because we were on a civilian education facility, and who keeps combat weapons in their office? Humans, probably. They would absolutely keep weapons everywhere. Station Commander Threll's voice came through every speaker simultaneously. Her usual calm demeanor was gone, replaced by something I had never heard from her before. Panic. All personnel, this is Commander Threll. We are under attack by hostile forces. They have breached the outer docking ring. Multiple casualties reported. Security teams are engaging, but we need everyone capable of fighting to arm themselves and report to defensive positions immediately. I was moving before she finished speaking. My office had an emergency weapons locker, standard for all senior staff. I grabbed a pulse rifle, 2 sidearms, and enough ammunition to fight a small war. Then I ran toward the command center. The corridors were chaos. Cadets running in every direction, some toward their quarters, some toward assembly points. Some just running because panic makes people stupid. Instructors were trying to establish order, but you could see it in their eyes. Fear, confusion. We train people for war, but we never expected war to come to us. I reached the command center to find it already crowded with senior staff. Commander Threll was at the central display, her 3-fingered hands moving rapidly across controls. The tactical situation looked bad, really bad. Report, I demanded, pushing through to the command console. Threll's head swiveled toward me. She was a Meridian, tall and elegant under normal circumstances. Right now, she looked like she wanted to molt out of her own skin. Pirates, she said, and the word came out like a curse. The Razorback Collective. 12 ships. They used a civilian transport as cover, got past our outer sensors, then attacked before we could respond. They have taken the entire docking ring. Estimate 80 hostiles already on station, with more coming. What do they want? I asked. Does it matter? Threll snapped. They are killing anyone who resists. We have confirmed deaths. Instructor Growth 7 is among them. My mandibles locked tight. Groth 7, the Velian weapons instructor who had been so fascinated by human capabilities. Dead. What are our assets? I asked, forcing myself to think tactically. 23 security personnel, scattered across the station. Maybe 40 instructors with combat experience against 80 trained pirates with military-grade weapons and no regard for civilian casualties. The math was ugly. Even with our training, even with defensive positions, we were outnumbered and outgunned. What about the cadets? Someone asked. Absolutely not, Threll said immediately. They are students, children. We do not send children into combat. They are trained military personnel, the voice argued. I turned and saw it was Kalp the Drake warrior, who Marcus Webb had defeated during the live fire exercise. Many have combat experience. We need every able body. No, Threll said firmly. We evacuate them. We hold the pirates back until coalition reinforcements arrive. Reinforcements are 6 hours away, I said, checking the tactical display. We will all be dead in one. The command center went silent. Nobody wanted to say it, but we were all thinking it. This was a suicide situation. We could sell our lives expensively, but the outcome was predetermined. Then the door exploded open. Not literally, but it felt that way when Marcus Webb stormed in, followed by all 11 other human cadets. They were armed, fully kitted out in combat gear that I had no idea they even possessed. They looked like they were about to assault a fortified position, not like cadets who should have been evacuating. Commander Threll, Marcus said, his voice cutting through the silence like a blade. 3rd Lieutenant Marcus Webb, Human Defense Corps, reporting for duty. My squad is armed and ready for deployment. Threll stared at him. Cadet Webb, you should be at evacuation point Delta with the other students. With respect, Commander, we are not students right now, Marcus said. We are soldiers, and you need soldiers. I will not send cadets into combat. Threll insisted. Marcus stepped closer to the command console. His face was calm, too calm. I recognized that expression now. That was his combat face. The face he wore when he was calculating angles and distances and how many hostiles he could eliminate before they knew he was there. "Commander," he said quietly, "those pirates have killed our instructor. They have killed our fellow cadets. They are threatening our home. We did not come to the academy to hide when things get dangerous. We came here to learn how to fight. Well, we learned. Now let us fight." "You are 12 people," Thrall said. "12 humans," Kira Osman said, stepping forward. "There is a difference." I looked at them. Really looked at them. They were not scared. They were not uncertain. They were angry. Cold, focused, lethal anger that reminded me of every veteran I had ever served with. "Commander," I said slowly, "I recommend we accept their offer." Thrall turned on me. "You want me to send children into battle?" "I want you to deploy combat-effective assets," I said, "and like it or not, these humans are the most combat-effective assets we have on this station." "That is insane." "That is mathematics," I replied. "I have been training them for 3 months. I have seen what they can do." "Commander, with all due respect, those 12 humans are worth more in a fight than half our security force." It was true. I hated that it was true. But numbers do not lie. Marcus was watching me. Something passed between us. Understanding. Recognition. He knew I was vouching for them. He knew what that meant. "We have a plan," he said to Thrall, "if you will let us execute it." "What plan?" Thrall demanded. Marcus moved to the tactical display. His hands flew over the controls with confidence that suggested he had been studying our systems. Of course he had. Humans do not just learn what they are taught, they learn everything they can access. "The pirates are here," he said, highlighting the docking ring. "They control all primary access points. Standard tactics say we fortify internal positions and try to hold them back. That will fail. They have numbers and they know station layout. They will flank us, surround us, eliminate us." "Then what do you suggest?" Thrall asked, and I could hear the desperation in her voice. "We do not defend," Marcus said. "We attack. That is suicide." "No," Kira said. "That is surprise. They expect you to hunker down and wait for reinforcements. They expect defensive positions and static warfare. They do not expect anyone to come at them hard and fast." David Park pulled up a secondary display. Station schematics show maintenance corridors running parallel to all major sections. The pirates will not be watching those. We can move through them, get behind their positions, hit them where they are not expecting resistance. 12 of you against 80 of them," Thrall said. "The math does not work." "The math works fine if we do not fight fair," Marcus said, and that smile appeared. The one I had learned to fear. "We do not need to kill all 80. We just need to break their command structure, create chaos, force them to react instead of act." Elena Rios stepped forward. "Human military doctrine is built on asymmetric warfare. We have fought against superior numbers for our entire history. We know how to win when we should lose." I looked at the tactical display, looked at the numbers, looked at 12 humans who genuinely believed they could change those numbers through sheer audacity. "Commander," I said, "I am going with them." Thrall's head snapped toward me. "Analyst Vrechtel, that is not—" "I am the senior combat instructor on this station," I interrupted. "If cadets are going into battle, they go with an experienced officer. That is regulation. That is non-negotiable." It was not regulation. I was making it up, but Thrall was too stressed to fact-check me. Marcus looked at me, nodded once. Respect in that gesture. "Fine," Thrall said, and she sounded defeated. "Fine, but you follow standard engagement protocols. You coordinate with security teams. You do not take unnecessary risks. And if the situation becomes untenable, you retreat immediately." Understood, Commander," Marcus said. He was lying. I could tell. Humans have this way of agreeing to orders they have no intention of following. They smile, they nod, and then they do whatever they think will work best. I was beginning to understand why their species survived. We moved out fast. The 13 of us, through corridors that were supposed to be safe but felt increasingly hostile. Marcus led, with Kira on point. They moved like they had done this 1,000 times before. Smooth, silent, coordinated without speaking. I brought up the rear, trying not to feel useless. My 4 arms should have given me an advantage in combat, but watching these humans move, I felt like I was the one who needed protection. We reached the maintenance access corridor without incident. David Park bypassed the lock-in under 10 seconds. Human technology skills I was learning were as frightening as their combat skills. Inside the corridor it was dark, narrow, uncomfortable, perfect for ambush or getting trapped and killed. Marcus pulled us into a huddle, spoke quietly. Okay, here is how this works. We have thermal imaging showing pirate positions. They have set up a command post in the central hub. That is where we hit first. We take out their leadership. The rest will panic. How do we get there without being detected? I asked. Kira smiled. It was not a nice smile. We do not avoid detection. We use it. She pulled out a device I did not recognize. Human smoke grenades. Non-lethal but extremely disorienting. We throw these into their positions, create chaos, move through it while they are blind. Then what? I demanded. Then we kill them, Marcus said simply. Fast. Efficient. Before they realize what is happening, he looked at each of his team members. Some signal passed between them. Some understanding that required no words. Remember your training, Marcus said. We move as a unit. We communicate. We cover each other. And we do not leave anyone behind. Clear, 11 voices said in unison. Analyst Rekdal, Marcus said, turning to me. You stay center. Use your forearms for maximum fire coverage. If we get into close combat, you have reach advantage. Use it. I nodded. My mandibles clicked nervously. I had been in combat before. Dozens of engagements. But always with proper support, proper planning, proper everything. This was improvisation. This was insanity. This was human. We moved through the maintenance corridors, slow and careful. The thermal imaging showed hostiles ahead. 8 of them clustered near an intersection. Good defensive position, clear fields of fire. They were professionals. Marcus held up his hand. Stop signal. He pointed to Kira and 2 other humans whose names I was struggling to remember in the stress. They nodded, moved forward silently, positioned themselves at different angles. Then Marcus did something that made my secondary heart stop. He stepped out into the open corridor. Just walked right out where the pirates could see him. They saw him immediately, started raising weapons, shouting warnings. Marcus raised his hands, universal surrender gesture. Please, he called out. Do not shoot. I am just a cadet. I am lost. He sounded terrified, young, helpless. The pirates hesitated. Confusion spread through their ranks. That half-second of confusion was all the humans needed. Kira and her team opened fire from 3 different angles simultaneously. Precise shots. No wasted ammunition. 8 hostiles. 8 headshots. Less than 2 seconds. The pirates went down without firing a single shot. Marcus lowered his hands. The terrified cadet disappeared. The soldier returned. Clear, he said calmly. Keep moving. We stepped over the bodies. I tried not to look at them. Tried not to think about how easily the humans had killed them. No hesitation. No remorse. Just tactical necessity. This was what they meant about being apex predators. We moved deeper into hostile territory. Encountered 3 more groups. Each time, Marcus used different tactics, distractions, flanking maneuvers. On one memorable occasion, he used me as bait, having me walk into view while humans positioned around corners. The pirates focused on the obvious threat, never saw the real danger until it was too late. 30 minutes into the operation, we had eliminated 23 hostiles. We had taken 0 casualties. I was starting to believe we might actually survive this. Then we reached the central hub. The command post was well defended. Barricades. Interlocking fields of fire. Multiple pirates. All experienced. All alert. This was not going to be easy. Marcus studied the position through a surveillance feed. His face showed concentration, calculation. That is their commander, he said, pointing to a large figure in the center. Crethian heavy. Tough armor. Hard to kill. So what do we do? I asked. Marcus looked at me. How good is your throwing arm? What? Your throwing arm. Or arms in your case. Carthians have excellent kinetic strength, right? Yes. But, good, Marcus said. He handed me 3 smoke grenades. When I give the signal, you are going to throw these into that command post. Throw hard. Throw fast. Do not miss. And then we go in fast. Close quarters. No mercy. His face was cold. This was not training. This was war. Real war. The kind where people die and do not get back up. Analyst Recti, he said quietly. Are you with us? I looked at him. At the 11 other humans preparing for an assault that should get them all killed. At young soldiers who were about to throw themselves into lethal danger to protect people they barely knew. I am with you, I said. Marcus smiled. Good. Because we are about to show these pirates why you do not attack a human facility. He positioned his team, hand signals, silent communication. They moved into place like parts of a single organism. Then Marcus looked at me, nodded. I threw the grenades. My Corthian arm strength sent them flying true. They detonated inside the command post, releasing thick smoke that obscured everything. Go, go, Marcus shouted. The humans rushed forward. I followed, all 4 arms holding weapons, firing at anything that moved in the smoke. The pirates were good. They returned fire, tried to establish defensive lines, but they could not see, could not coordinate. The smoke turned their prepared position into chaos. And chaos is where humans thrive. I saw Marcus engage 3 pirates simultaneously. He moved between them like water, each motion flowing into the next. Shots fired, bodies dropped. He never stopped moving. Kira was on the far side, her rifle barking rhythmically. Every shot a kill, every kill buying space for her team to advance. David Park went low, sliding under fire, coming up inside the pirates' guard, close-range shots that eliminated threats before they could react. It was beautiful in a horrifying way. Coordinated violence executed with precision that suggested years of training, not months. I fought too. My 4 arms gave me coverage no 2-armed species could match. I provided suppressing fire, forcing pirates to take cover, giving humans angles to exploit. The battle lasted maybe 90 seconds. Felt like 90 hours. When the smoke cleared, the command post was ours. The pirate commander lay dead, shot through the head by Marcus Webb at point-blank range. Status, Marcus called. Clear, voices responded. One by one, all 12 humans accounted for. I checked myself. Minor wounds, nothing serious. I was alive. We had done it. 13 against over 30 in their prepared position, and we had won. Do not celebrate yet, Marcus said, moving to the command console. We still have 50 hostiles on this station. But now we have their communications network. He accessed the pirate systems. His hands moved fast, bypassing security protocols like they were suggestions. David, Elena, secure this position, Marcus ordered. Kira, take 4 and start clearing adjacent sections. Analyst Victol, you are with me. We are going to broadcast a message to the remaining pirates. What message? I asked. He smiled that terrible smile. The truth. Marcus activated the pirate communication network. His voice went out to every hostile on the station. Attention, Razorback Collective Forces. This is 3rd Lieutenant Marcus Webb, Human Defense Corps. Your command structure has been eliminated. Your command post is under our control. You have one opportunity to surrender. Drop your weapons, secure yourselves in place, and await coalition security forces. You have 5 minutes to comply. There was silence on the channel. Then laughter. Harsh, mocking laughter. Humans, a voice said. You think you scare us? You think we fear your soft species? We know what you are. Weak, fragile. We will hunt you through this station and kill you like the prey you are. Marcus looked at me. They chose poorly. He switched channels. All human units. This is Webb. Execute protocol, Shadow Walk. Let us show them what prey looks like. The humans moved out. I followed Marcus, trying to understand what protocol Shadow Walk meant. I found out quickly. The humans stopped fighting like soldiers. They started hunting like predators. They used the maintenance corridors, the ventilation systems, every access point that normal species would not consider. They moved silently, striking from unexpected angles, eliminating pirates 1 or 2 at a time. No direct combat, no announcements, just sudden death from nowhere. I watched Kira drop from a ceiling vent onto an unsuspecting pirate. Single shot, gone before his body hit the floor. I saw David Park use a maintenance drone as mobile cover, firing around it while pirates shot at a target that did not care if it was damaged. I saw Lalana Rios pretend to be injured, luring pirates into an ambush where 3 other humans were waiting. They used every dirty trick, every tactical advantage, every psychological weapon in their arsenal, and the pirates started to panic. Because humans, I realized, are not just good at fighting. They are terrifying at hunting. The pirate communication channels filled with fear. Hostiles reported seeing humans where there should be none, reported attacks from impossible angles, reported feeling like they were being stalked by ghosts. One pirate screamed into the channel, "They are everywhere." "How are they everywhere? We outnumber them." Marcus responded calmly. "Numbers do not matter when you do not know where we are. Final warning. Surrender now or we keep hunting." More silence. Then one by one, pirates started surrendering, dropping weapons, securing themselves, broadcasting surrender signals. Within an hour it was over. Coalition security forces arrived to find the situation contained. Hostiles secured. Human cadets standing guard, looking like they had just finished a training exercise instead of actual combat. Commander Thrall found me in the command center. She looked exhausted, shocked, and something else I could not identify. "Report, Analyst Brichtel," she said quietly. I looked at the tactical display. The numbers were impossible. 13 combatants engaged approximately 80 hostile forces, I said. "We suffered 0 fatalities. Minor injuries only. Hostile casualties number 47 dead, 33 captured. The operation was a complete success." "How?" Thrall asked. I looked at Marcus Webb, who was coordinating with Coalition security. Looked at Kira Osman, who was helping treat wounded station personnel. Looked at 12 humans who had just changed everything I thought I knew about warfare. "They hunted," I said simply. "We fought. They hunted. There is a difference." Thrall followed my gaze. "They are just cadets, students." "No," I said. "They are humans, and we need to understand what that means." The aftermath took days to process. Interviews, debriefings, official reports. The Coalition Council wanted to know everything about what happened. I told them the truth, that 12 human cadets had saved the station, that they had defeated a numerically superior force through tactics, skill, and a fundamental understanding of violence that other species do not possess. Some council members were impressed, some were concerned, some were terrified. All of them wanted to know the same thing. Could other humans do what these 12 had done? I thought about human military history, about wars spanning continents, about weapons that could end civilizations, about a species that had looked at self-destruction and chosen survival instead. Yes, I told them. Every single one of them could do this. They are all like this. It is not training. It is culture. It is history. It is what they are. The council did not like that answer. But it was the truth. A week after the attack, Marcus Webb came to my office. He was back in his cadet uniform. No weapons, no combat gear, just a young man who wanted to talk to his instructor. "Analyst Brichtel," he said. "I wanted to thank you." "For what?" I asked. "For trusting us. For fighting with us. You did not have to do that. You could have stayed in command and let us go alone." I clicked my mandibles. Corthian laughter. "If I had done that, I would never have understood what humans really are." "And what are we?" Marcus asked.
I thought about it carefully.
About everything I had seen and learned. "You are survivors," I said finally. "Your entire history is survival against impossible odds. Every other species in the galaxy evolved advantages. Armor, venom, size, strength. You evolved something better. You evolved the ability to adapt, to learn, to overcome anything through sheer determination and creativity." I paused, choosing my next words carefully. "You are not the strongest species. You are not the fastest. You do not have natural weapons, but you are the most dangerous, because you refuse to accept limitations. You see a problem and you solve it. You face an enemy and you defeat them. You encounter the impossible and you make it possible." Marcus listened quietly. Then he nodded. "That is the nicest way anyone has ever called us terrifying," he said. "It is meant as a compliment," I said, "and a warning. The galaxy is not ready for humans. Not really. You are going to change everything." "We are just trying to help," Marcus said. "I know," I replied. That might be the scariest part. You are not trying to conquer. You are not trying to dominate. You are just being yourselves. And yourselves are apex predators who think cooperation is a good idea. Marcus smiled. Is that going to be a problem? Probably, I said honestly, but it will be an interesting problem. He stood to leave, then paused at the door. One more thing, he said. That phrase Instructor Growth 7 said, about the rifle hitting you before you stand, he did not understand what it really meant. What did it mean, I asked. It means we are always ready, Marcus said quietly. It means we do not need preparation time. It means when danger comes, we are already moving, already fighting, already winning. That is what makes us human. We are always ready for the next threat, because on our planet there was always a next threat. He left. I sat in my office, thinking about his words, about a species forged in constant danger, about creatures who learned to be ready for anything because anything could kill them. And now they were in the galaxy. Now they were our allies. I pulled up my latest report, the one I had been writing all week, the one that would go to the Coalition High Command and every military academy in known space. Subject: Final Assessment of Human Combat Capability. Conclusion: Humans represent a fundamental paradigm shift in military doctrine. Traditional assessment metrics are inadequate. New training protocols are required. Recommendation: do not train humans like other species. They do not need to be taught how to fight. They need to be taught when to fight and when to stop. Secondary recommendation: if you are ever in combat and humans are available, deploy them immediately. If humans are your enemy, surrender immediately. Final observation: we asked humans to join the Galactic Coalition. We thought we were doing them a favor. We were wrong. They are doing us a favor, because if they had wanted to, they could have taken the galaxy instead of joining it. We are fortunate they are friendly. I sent the report and sat back. Outside my window I could see the practice range. The humans were there again, training, always improving. Marcus Webb saw me watching and waved. I waved back with all four arms. The galaxy had just learned an important lesson, one that humans probably already knew. Survival is not about being the biggest or the strongest, or the most naturally dangerous. Survival is about being willing to do whatever it takes. And humans, they have been doing whatever it takes for millions of years. They are very, very good at it. And now they are here among the stars, ready to teach the rest of us what survival really means. I clicked my mandibles one more time. Corthin laughter. The galaxy was never going to be the same. And honestly, that was probably a good thing.